Blog Talk Radio.
But we are making a stand, and we're waking everybody up that 9/11 was an inside job. And you are the minority. You are the cowards who don't know the truth. You're the people that serve this evil system. You're the people that serve a system that hurts innocent men, women, and children. Not just Iraqis, not just Afghans, not just Africans, but the people right here in this nation. You serve a new world order that attacks and feeds on you. And I'm here to tell you that you will be defeated. Your hours are numbered. We've got the energy. We've got the life force. All you've got is evil backing you up. All you've got is greed and liking to look at yourself in the mirror. Because deep down, the New World Order is a pot-bellied, chicken-neck ninny. And all the armor and all the weapons are nothing. You are nothing compared to good. You are nothing compared to life. And you will be defeated. I want the individuals out there, I want free humanity to turn themselves loose, to cut the chains loose, and to use the end of that chain to slap the New World Order right upside the head. You've got the power. You want to know who's going to defeat the New World Order? It is you. You're the individuals that are going to be able to defeat this system. You're the individuals that are going to be able to take down the New World Order. It doesn't matter if Ron Paul wins. It doesn't matter if they rig the election. What matters is that we're starting to stand up. We're starting to move. We're starting to find our legs. We're starting to build our muscle. We're starting to realize that we do have power, and we can work together, and we can take action, and that the naysayers are a pack of weak liars who have never had any successes in their life and who are upset and frustrated to see us beginning to have victories against tyranny. They don't have any respect for themselves. They don't have any vision, and they don't have any will. And they sure don't have any of the power that shines out of God's soul and energizes all life in the universe. They have wed themselves to death, and they will crumble, and they will fall, and for eternity we wed ourselves to life, and to everything good, and everything that flows from it.
Renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas and the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me right at this moment. Take a hold of his thumb and break it if you have to. We were we had an explosion and we are defended immediately. Let's try our best.
People calling themselves members of the Weather Underground last night planted bombs in federal office buildings in Washington and Oakland, California.
They took the babies out of incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
Survivors of the USS Liberty are demanding a congressional investigation into what happened and acknowledgement that the Israeli Air Force bombed a U.S. intelligence Navy ship.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
The Taliban is taking responsibility for shooting down a U.S. helicopter. More than 30 people were killed, and there are reports this morning that most of them are U.S. Navy SEALs.
There may be a false flag incident where some ship goes down and be used for the excuse to accelerate the next war.
If there's one thing that has unified Democrats and Republicans, and everybody in between, that we all hated the bank bailout.
The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
They estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill.
I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front.
In the councils of government, We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? My name is Joseph Gibson. We're here on Blog Talk Radio, broadcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina, a little bit after 6 p.m. on the East Coast on a Thursday evening. I hope everybody's well and they're doing fine. I know I've got many supporters on the line tonight, several other guests. My main guest, who was supposed to check in with me today, canceled for the second time, promised they would be here on Sunday, so we'll see. I'm not going to announce the name of that guest until I can confirm. This is the second time they have canceled. And we all know everyone lives busy lives, but don't tell someone you're going to do something and not fulfill your engagement or appointment. Now, I understand emergencies pop up, but, you know, you should really make every attempt to keep your word. But that's the country we live in today. But I put together a couple broadcasts, tapes together tonight. And the big story, of course, in the political arena is the Mitt Romney story where he came out and bashed Trump. Nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. And we're going to prove that right here. I have a recording right here from 2012 where he stated just the opposite of what he said today. This actually confirms even more how much these people lie to us every single day, every election cycle. And, of course, tonight I'm going to open the phone lines up because I know a lot of people like to participate and voice their comments. And anyone who wants to participate and voice their comments on any subject, it doesn't have to be on the topic we are particularly talking about. I allow everyone a voice on this program. I am not like other blog talk stations where I speak for an hour and a half and waste your time and not allow you to voice your opinion, whether you agree or disagree with me. And I always like to make that fact known right off the bat, okay? And some people, I know we had some international callers over the past couple weeks where they're unable to call in, overseas, we know Europe is in shambles. The economy over there is in shambles. And a lot of people don't have the funds or the money to call in across to the United States and report what's going on. And just send me your phone number. I'll call you if you have problems. Well, even in the United States, look, you don't have long distance. You don't have a long-distance carrier. I can call you. All you got to do is email me or send me a message. You can send me a message in the chat room. You can email me at joegibsonishome@yahoo.com if you have something important to say, or you just have something to say in general. Because I like to give everyone an opportunity to speak. Because without you, there is no show. I see these other alternative media stations with 1, 2, 3 listeners, and they think they're doing something important. Nobody wants to hear one person's opinions for an hour and a half. You think you're putting on a show for somebody, you're not. It's about everyone else out there in the community, in the nation. It's everyone's opinions because we can learn from each other on what's going on in our world today, in our country today. I'm not saying what everyone says is true or fact because there's a lot of nonsense out there. We all know that. And I've had some crazies call into this show. I get hate mail all the time. I don't want to be this, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get into that tonight. I've done that in the past. But, you get these trolls out there who just want to make a name for themselves, who just want to agitate people. But I know there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of very important things to say
and they can really give good ideas, but they stay silent and they shouldn't. And when you press 1 on your phone and you call in, there'll be a question mark that will appear on the studio screen on my computer, and I will get to you. Don't press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, because you may disconnect yourself and not even know it. Just press 1 time. I will get to you, I promise. And sometimes if someone's making a point, or they're in, someone else or callers before you, I like to let everyone have ample time. I'm not going to cut you off like Fox News, CNN, and all the banker-owned media and say, hey, we got to go to commercial, goodbye, and they cut you off. No, that's not what we're about here. This is the alternative media, and I like to think that Blog Talk Radio and other internet radio shows out there would do the same thing, because this is the only place you're going to receive the truth. The only place. We all know the banker-owned media out there, Fox News, CNN, or even your local news stations out there, are going to do nothing but tell you nonsense and lies. Yeah, not maybe 100%. Yeah, they tell the weather, and or they'll report on sports, or maybe a local story, and that's it. Yeah, but for the most part, it's repetition and brainwashing, and they all have an agenda, and I'm going to prove that also tonight. Okay? I don't want to put everyone through a long, sequential, and repetitious broadcast tonight, but I do have one recording also where I'm going to prove to you how they use subliminal messages to hypnotize you and brainwash you by repeating the same thing over and over and over. Many of you are informed out there, and you know what's going on. But there's also a sector of society, a large part of society, that is brainwashed and hypnotized, and they walk around like zombies. We all know that, those that are informed, and especially the supporters of this show who call in twice a week, when we broadcast Sundays and Thursdays. We know that. But it's up to us to try to awake these people and try to bring them to the light and make them understand what's really going on. Now, yes, I understand some people you just cannot get through to, especially those hard-headed liberals out there. There's no getting through to them. And even when you prove them wrong or show them facts, what do? They revert to name-calling, sometimes even violence. So I understand that. But doesn't mean we should not try, okay? We should all try to help each other out because, hey, we all know that there's, individuals out there that need to be saved and helped and awoken. And we need to awaken the public. Now, listen, everyone is entitled to their opinion about this election here, especially the Republican nomination process. There's a lot of people out there that support Ted Cruz. There's a lot of people out there that support Rubio. Carson, I believe, is going to be dropping out. And of course, we know the majority support Trump. And listen, let's use common sense here. Trump is being bashed consistently by his own party. Does that not tell you something? Does that not tell you he's going against what normally should be done in the party? Now, look, people say, well, yeah, because the guy's nuts. He's going to start a war. He's angry, blah, blah, blah. He lies, and he's telling stories. Listen, over your lifetime, has any of these presidents actually followed through what they said they were going to do? Have things actually gotten better for you throughout your life? I know during the Reagan years, a lot of people will say, yeah, life changed, things were great. We were able to spend money, paychecks, became larger, there were more jobs, and then when Bush got in there, Senior Bush, things went downhill. We went to war with Iraq, and we all know Obama lied through his teeth. Change what? Yeah, he changed it all right for the worse. So, and there's some people out there that'll disagree, but the facts are the facts. I mean, things are for the worse. We know our country's going downhill. We know that. If you think that things are great right now and things are going well, then, hey, that's your opinion. But, you got to look at the facts. You got to see what's going on out there. We still have the same amount of crime in our inner cities. We still have our schools going down the toilet bowl. We still are losing our liberties more and more every day. There's more laws, more restrictions, more regulations. We're still paying more money. Our electric bills are getting higher. Our phone bills are getting higher. Our mortgages are getting higher. It's harder and harder to get credit. The facts are facts. So anyway, Mitt Romney today came out and he pretty much just tried to destroy Donald Trump because that's what he was told to by the establishment. Well, I have a 1:20 recording that's going to reflect on 2012 and today. So please listen to it, and you're going to see how much this man lied to the American people today during his press conference. I'm going to go ahead and put that up right now. I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Donald Trump has shown an extraordinary ability to understand how our economy works, to create jobs for the American people. What little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers and for American families. He understands that our economy is facing threats from abroad. He's one of the few people who stood up and said, you know what, China has been cheating. They've taken jobs from Americans. They haven't played fair. We have to have a president who will stand up to cheaters. His proposed 35% tariff-like penalties would instigate a trade war, and that would raise prices for consumers, kill our export jobs, and lead entrepreneurs and businesses of all stripes to flee America. I spent my life in the private sector, not quite as successful as this guy, but successful nonetheless, sufficiently successful to understand what it takes to get America to be the most attractive place in the world for innovators, entrepreneurs, and business and job creators. He inherited his business. He didn't create it. A business genius, he is not.
Romney, he sucks! Hey!
All right. Anyway, what that was a quick little recording where he says a good thing and then says a bad thing about Trump. And like I said before the recording was, in 2012, Donald Trump endorsed Romney. He begged for Trump's endorsement, and he got up with Trump behind the stage. You can look it up on YouTube. Okay? The video's there. It's a lot longer than what I played because, I don't want to play something that you can't see and you're only getting the words because I like you to get the truth. But if you go to YouTube, you can look that video up and you get the complete press conference when in 2012 Mitt Romney had Donald Trump support. Trump supported him because Mitt Romney got up there and said, hey, Mr. Trump, he's a great businessman. He's done a lot for the American worker. He knows what's going on. He understands China's screwing us over. But yet today, he got up and said Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He inherited his business. He's never really worked. He's going to create a trade war with China. Well, I thought China was, cheating us and screwing us over 4 years ago, Romney. I thought you supported Trump 4 years ago. I thought you wanted his endorsement. Today, you don't. Why? Why? Did anyone in the press ask Romney this? Why? Why have you changed your opinion? We all have a right to change our minds, okay? I'm not being one-sided here. Because in the beginning, I really didn't support Trump either. However, as I watched the debates and I watched himself and what he had to say, and I watched the other candidates attack him and the establishment attack him, changed my mind. I believe that Trump is the man who's going to put things straight once he's elected as president. If he's elected as president. And we all know Hillary Clinton. If you support Hillary Clinton out there, please, you need to call in and tell me why. This is a criminal who's about ready to be indicted by the FBI for her using a private server disclosing national security emails on a private server that terrorists hacked into. And other countries and governments hacked into, okay, which is a crime. If I was able to access the United States military's classified information on a private email server and emailed these emails or copied this classified information, emailed it to my friends abroad, and people were monitoring my email, that is a felony. That's a crime. She is Secretary of the State. She should know this. That's a crime. That's a felony. Okay? Many felonies she committed. She may be indicted. We don't know. Many people are saying no. She's going to pay off people. The Clintons have, they've tried to indict the Clintons many times over, and it hasn't happened. And that's true. We've seen history. I mean, we saw when Bill Clinton was in office, they impeached him, and he was still yet the president. And we all know all about that. Let's get back to today. Like I said, these emails. And I recently posted on my Facebook page a video of Hillary Clinton actually insulting a black voter that came and approached her at a meeting and asked her for an answer. And she snapped on this girl. This obviously was a college student. She snapped on her and gave her the meanest, dirtiest, snottiest look. I'm telling you right now, that's not a woman you want to invite over for dinner. And I posted that on my Facebook right there. If anyone wants to go ahead and take a look at that, you can find the video on YouTube. Hillary insults black voter. It's there. You can watch it. It's absolutely disgusting. What if Donald Trump did that? Oh, my Lord. That would be on the 6 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, the 6 a.m. news. It'd be the talk for the next 3 days. But anyway, anyone who wants to participate tonight, you're more than welcome to just call in at 657-383-0616. All you got to do is press 1, and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and connect you, and you can have your say. I'll give you ample amount of time. I won't cut you off, I promise, even if you disagree with me. All righty, I got one caller already. This is one of the supporters of the show, Joe from Meriden, Connecticut. I'm here in Greensboro. Go ahead, Joe in Meriden, Connecticut. I got you.
Yeah, hi there. It appears I have some tranquility, so I thought I'd call in and talk.
All right, go ahead.
Well, there's a little bit of truth in every lie. So when you tell a lie long enough, eventually it becomes the truth. I did not inhale. I did not have sexual relations with that girl. And it goes on and on and on. And you were talking about crimes. It's only a crime if they say it's a crime. Cops go undercover, which is a crime. If you or I did the same thing as what they did, we'd be arrested. So maybe that server is out on the internet purposely. You don't know what these criminals that's why they call it Washington, D.C., the District of Criminals. That's why they call it that, because that's where they are. I told you we need 41 miles of fence around the 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. to keep all those monkeys in and keep them away from us. And Trump in China, I believe what he's saying too, and he's talking a good game, but I don't believe any of them. If we were to make an iPhone here or an e-phone or any kind of phone here in the United States, it costs 100 times what it costs from China. But then again, maybe things would level out. I don't know. I'm not a politician.
But Trump is really saying things. Not even Ross. And those of you who remember, I'm going to say it right now, Ross Perot. If anyone remembers in 1991 and 1992 where he went against the establishment, and I remember Ross Perot. He was a billionaire businessman who paid for his own campaign, and he's saying things not even Ross Perot was saying at that time. He's talking about this establishment where he's talking about, look, there's lobbyists in the audience. This guy's paying off Rubio. He's owned Cruz. He's owned by these guys, and he's being honest. I'm friends with all these people. They're booing me. They're waving at me, laughing, and he did this on national TV. And,
I know. I've watched every one. I've seen that. You're absolutely correct, and he's the first one that's been doing that.
Yeah, so that's why, and look, I fear for the man's safety. I believe, I hope he doesn't end up like Kennedy or Reagan. I'm fear for the man's safety.
Me too. Well, what you're talking about goes along and goes right with my point that I'm trying to get at. You know, I was talking about making things here in America, excuse me, how they'd be more expensive and they'd be prohibitive for us to own at times. And the majority of the people support Trump, and that's true. But looking on the other side, there are more people that aren't supporting Trump, voting for the other monkeys. Excuse me for calling them that, but that's why they're politicians, so we can make fun of them. You know, then voting for Trump. So if we can get some of them out, you know, then maybe Trump would have a better lead. Now everything is getting more expensive, like you said. You said you can't get credit. Now I'm not saying that you should get credit, but what I'm saying is you should be financially secure, and that's the problem today. We don't need a $2,500 iPhone made in the United States. We don't need a $7,500 flat screen TV, which now sells for $350, you know, here in the United States. But if we had family support and we all took care of one another, well, you know what? We would all have access to these things because we would all have it. The problem is today is nobody looks out for any part of their family, and everybody has to have their own cell phone, their own car, their own house, etc., etc., etc. And the price right now is prohibitive for most of us to have that. So if it came to where things became even more expensive, none of us would have that.
What you're saying, all right. What you're saying is because you're an older gentleman. I mean, you're in your 60s, and you lived in the 1960s and late 50s and 70s. Times were different back then. We didn't have the point you're trying to make is people back then, when you were growing up, did not have all these toys. They didn't have flat screens. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have their iPhones or cell phones. And the 16-year-old daughter and son didn't have their own automobile. They used a family car, and everyone, you know, basically acted as a whole entire family back then. Well, actually, they were starting to break down at that time, but it was better than what it is today. But what you're trying to say is times have changed, and you're reflecting on my point. Things are more expensive, and what you're trying to say, they actually are not. Because we're spending more money today on our toys and our extras than we did yesterday. So if we didn't have these toys, we would actually have more money in our pocket today. Am I correct or not?
Well, yeah, you're right on the spot, but everything is relative too. Excuse me again. You know, we weren't rolling in cash back then either. It was just as hard then as it is now. The thing is, now you have more of the things to take your money than you did then. And if you went back probably to my father's growing up age and his mother and father, it was the same thing. They may not have known about central heat, and it was common to have to go out and chop wood and bring it in and throw it in the stove to heat the house. It was common to have snow coming through the windows in the wintertime because they didn't have storm windows. So they didn't know what they were missing because they never had it. But today, since we have all these things, when we don't have it, we miss it.
Okay, I understand your point. All right. But to get back on the general subject and topic, seeing throughout your lifetime and the corruption in the political arena, compare it to the time when you were younger to today. Has it gotten worse today, the corruption? Because we all know what happened to John JFK. You were obviously a small boy at that time, and you said you remembered that. I remember in your previous calls. So is the corruption the same, or are we seeing something new today?
Well, you have to remember when you were younger, especially like me back then in the late 50s and 60s, I didn't pay attention to politics. I didn't pay attention to politics until say 2000. That's when I actually paid attention. I believe politics has always been corrupt like this. That they're always looking out for their own selves and their families. They've passed laws that allows them to do insider trading legally, which means that they can enrich their family members who can enrich other friends. But if you did the same thing, you'd be thrown right in prison. You retire, you get Social Security, maybe if you're lucky. I'm sure they get their full salary. You know, so it's all on their side.
When politicians retire, they receive their full salary for the rest of their lives, full medical, and I'm not sure, but I believe they also receive housing or a pension towards paying for their housing. So yeah, they're taken care of once they're elected for life. Because you pose this question: why hasn't many of like for instance, John McCain? He wanted to be president of the United States so bad. Where's he been? Why doesn't he want to run anymore? Because he already ran. He was a senator, or I don't know. Is he still a senator? He might still be, but he's taking care for the rest of his life.
Arizona.
Yeah. Oh, in Arizona, that's correct. He's taking care for the rest of his life. Hey, I made a run at it. Who cares? You know what? I got I got $20 billion in donations. You know, why run again? Why go through that misery? Right. You know, he's taking care of it.
And all these campaign donations that they receive, they don't give them back. They fund their family members and other endeavors. You know what? I got this cousin who's out of a job. We're going to pay him $1,000 a day to come help me. You know.
That's correct. But all right, Joe. I appreciate your time, but real quick, I wanted to make another point real quick tonight, and it's only a minute long. And I wanted to put this on the program tonight, and I was talking about media brainwashing. Okay, and we all know the media, brainwashes us to believing something, and that has to do with a lot of the campaign. They repeat things over and over. Now, listen, this is only a minute and 40 seconds long. It's repetitious, but it's making a point. So those of you who don't understand may not want to listen or may get frustrated, but it's only a minute 45 seconds long, and and it's making a point to where how they. It's like, for instance, say you hear a song during the day on the radio, and it's stuck in your head all day long. Why? You know, why? Or a specific melody that you saw on TV, or you saw a sign. It stays in your memory. You know, this is all part of the New World Order's programming process. Call me crazy, but hey, do your own investigation. Don't call someone crazy or make fun of them until you know the facts, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick, and then we'll get back to the callers. And again, the phone number is 657-383-0616. All you got to do is press 1. I will patch you through, okay? So here we go. Let's play this.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
In consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some of the spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take the spring out of the step of the Easter Bunny this year.
Okay. And that was from a different network each time they made that statement. Okay? Networks around the country. There's more, but I'm not going to put my callers or my listeners through that. I actually had another one where they talked about gas prices, and I picked that one up from the Infowars.com site about the gas prices, but that was 9 minutes long, and I didn't want to take everybody's time up having them because most of you are informed and you understand what's going on. And that is how the nationally or the locally banker-owned media programs you to believe or think or fear a certain way. It's amazing. It's amazing, actually. And we all know it, but we go along with it. And we go along to get along. And those of you who are out there fighting the cause and are patriots in the movement and really are informed and trying to inform your neighbor or paying attention to programs like mine or scanning the airwaves, who are contributing, putting your opinions out there, and trying to educate your neighbor, friends, anywhere. Like we had a caller last week. He said, listen, call everybody you know, talk about Trump. You know, twist their arm a little bit. Say, hey, get the vote out. Get the word out, you know. And he's absolutely right. Use the same technique these scumbags use, like I just showed you. Tell me something. Why do they call it a television program? Television program. They're programming you, okay? Right there. There's your facts right there. Programming you, all right? Anyway, if we all remember, I told you I was going to put together a voter registration list where we can call registered voters, okay, and actually do a poll. Mike out in Wisconsin, I believe last week, suggested that we have a show for that. Okay, I need a few more days. I do have compiled a list, but I want to make sure I'm doing something legally, and I obtained this list legally, and I'm not going to get in trouble for doing it because I'm soliciting people, and I received this list off the internet, and I want to make sure it's truthful and it's not bogus. So we will go ahead and do that on Sunday. So those of you who are listening, I will have a list of people. Listen, maybe we'll call 50 people on Sunday night, between 25 and 50 people, and we'll do our own live poll and ask the voters, who are they voting for, okay? And that's how polls are done. I don't have time to do 1,000 calls, nor do I have, I could do it off the air and tell you guys the results, but that's not what my program is about because I want you out there, the listener, to hear the live station, the live phone calls, because that's truth. I don't want you to think I'm trying to make you believe a certain way. So what we can do is we'll have time to do 25 to 50 callers, see how it goes. If we have time to do more, and what we'll do is I'll have my stat sheet here. Who are you voting? Who are they voting for? Which candidate do they support, and why? Now we may stumble across a couple of people where I may ask them questions like we may get a person who supports Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to ask them why. You know, why do they support him? And I may challenge them in a discussion. You know, we'll see how it goes. So that's going to go ahead and happen on Sunday unless I can get this important guest on and booked for Sunday. So that's what I have planned for you on Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, always I welcome the callers and the supporters of this show. If, you know, you're more than welcome to chip in on Sunday also if you feel like you have something important I should be asking these people when I call them, okay? I know we've got about 11 or 12 people in the chat room, about 60 on the podcast line, and then we've got about 30 callers on the live lines. So if you want to contribute tonight, please call in at 657-383-0616. Tell me what's going on, especially the supporters out there. And there's one supporter I haven't heard from in a long time, and I'm scanning the phone line right now to see what numbers are here on my screen. And maybe Mike out in Wisconsin knows because he's related to this supporter. What happened to Joe in Sebastian, Florida? He hasn't been on here for about 5 shows now, and I know he contributed a lot in the past. I haven't heard from him, and he's a little longer in the tooth of age. He's traveled the world. He's been in Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and he gave us a lot of points and talking points a few times when he called in. But we have not heard from him in a long time, and I haven't seen his number here on the screen. So if Mike out in Wisconsin can check on that for me or check in with me tonight and find out what's going on, I'd really appreciate it. If not, send me an email and let me know what's going on. Make sure he's okay. I think Joe and Sebastian Flores is about, 81 years old, 82 years old? I'm not 100% sure how old he is, but I know he's up there long in the tooth, like I said, so I hope he's okay. Because he's contributed a lot throughout this year with the show, and I really appreciate when he calls in. And I appreciate the comments sometimes in the chat room also. So, yeah, tonight was a pretty good show. If anyone has a last-minute contribution or you have something you want to say, you're more than welcome to press 1. I got about 36, I think it's 36 callers on the line live right now. All you got to do is press 1, and I'll connect you, and you say what you got to say, and I will patch you through, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and scan the box right now. Like I said, there's about 34 callers, so let me scan through the numbers here real quick. All right, we got one right now. Okay, that just press the question mark, so I'm going to patch. Oh, I think this is my friend from Nevada, so I'm going to put him through. That's good. Great. Hey, how you doing tonight, brother?
I don't know. I haven't had my Chipotle yet, but it's looking good. They're making it now. Can you believe they're bringing this Romney back through? It's like they did the same thing with McCain and Romney's campaign. They bring back the loser that everybody hates and everybody's pissed off, and they bring this guy and they put him in your face and they say, "We are the establishment. We run you. We own you." And but it's kind of outrageous that they would think that they could do that this time around when they're not in the lead and they're far behind.
You know what? I thought about you today when I was putting together this show because, remember, last week we talked about this Romney coming back into the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? We talked about this live on the air. And I thought about you because this was the conversation we have. And now here it is. It's happened. I cannot believe it either. I'm disgusted. What about your friends and family or people that think alike like you? Because I know you got your ears to the ground and you're paying attention. What do they think about it? They got to be so disgusted.
Well, most of my relatives are back in Chicago. I'm kind of out here on my own. Most of them are Ted Cruz supporters. And,
really?
Yeah. And it's tough to convince them that, as much of a renegade as, I hate to use that term that John McCain term meant nothing. But Ted Cruz doing his own thing, kind of willing to stand up against the machine. But really, I mean, he to me he feels like an insider to me. I'm not buying it.
I agree, and like you said in the past, Trump has circled himself around people who are anti-establishment. And you know what? We're not trying to destroy the Republican Party. We all know Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. We need someone who's going to go against. What does Trump say? I get along with everybody. And he's doing the right thing for everybody. And the establishment, Democrat and Republican, hate him. But the thing that we got to pay attention to is he's attracting a lot of the Democrats that are awake too. Now remember, all liberals are not zombies. A lot of them believe in the right thing for this country too. So he's bringing them over to us also, and that's what's key. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a record turnout probably. And yeah, a lot of those voters are going to be first-time voters, too. People that never thought they'd ever bother to vote are going to be voting for Trump. But I'll tell you what, Cruz, and I think there's a Fox News debate tonight. I don't have a TV in my house, and the sports book doesn't have Fox, they have CNN, but I think there's a debate watch party at a place called Rhythm Kitchen. There has been a debate watch party there in the past. I haven't verified that they're having one tonight. So anybody that's out here.
I thought it was tomorrow night, the debate. I may be
Really?
wrong, but yeah, I thought it was tomorrow night. But I could be wrong. You could be right. But anyway, it's irrelevant anyway. But the points that you bring up, I'm glad you checked in with me, and I appreciate your support of the show. And
it is tonight on Fox.
It is tonight on Fox. Joe and Meriden.
9 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox.
Okay, you just heard that, right, my friend out in Nevada?
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Hey, anything else you want to say real quick? Because actually, you know what? I have a couple phone numbers I looked up over the week. I forgot about them for Ted Cruz. We talked a little bit about Ted Cruz, and you said you got some friends, and they promised they were going to answer me tonight, and we will see. Most usually don't. But, like I said, we're on at 6 p.m., and I really want to do a show during the day, during business hours, but at the same time, I want to make sure I book someone that is of relevance. Like I told you in the past, we had 3 weeks ago the former president of Canada on this show, and also he emailed me, and he actually wants to come back on, and I'm probably going to go ahead and book him next month sometime. And then I had an attorney from the United States Embassy in China who also wants to come back on. He wants to bring people who actually defected from China, from the prison camps over there, the political prison camps, and he wants to bring a survivor who's defected over to the United States on this show. So that's going to be a great show. But anyway, my friend out in Nevada, anything else you want to say real quick before I try calling Mr. Cruz?
Oh, that's hilarious when you call those numbers.
All right.
That was funny. I was at the Trump building the last time you did that. That was that call. So yeah, that's some good radio. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And listen, like I've always told you, you're always welcome. I didn't see your number at first, but I'm glad you checked in with me tonight because, hey, you got your ear to the ground. You're informed. And I'm glad we connected on an alternative media site. Actually, we connected on InfoWars. And I'm so glad for that. And I appreciate that. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right. Yeah, you too. I'm going to go ahead and mute you right now. I'm going to start calling these couple numbers, and hopefully we can get a hold of somebody live in the Ted Cruz campaign. And I'm going to put some hard questions to him. I'm going to go ahead and put it to him. So we know when we called Walmart, the Walmart headquarters there, back in the summer, we got a manager on the phone, and we kind of made him look like silly putty. So let's try the first one here. I got 3, actually, so bear with me, people. You know I have to type these numbers in, and it's got to connect through. I'm not, like I said, Fox News, where I got a $100,000 radio show here, so doing the best I can. But let's see if I got this number in properly. All right, go ahead. We'll see. We're going to try calling Ted Cruz. Just bear with me, folks.
You've reached Cruz for President. Please leave your name, phone number, email, and zip code after the tone. Have a great day.
Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message.
Okay, we'll hang up on him. We ain't leaving messages. All right, I've got 2 other numbers here. I'm going to get his number. I promise you. The people that are listening tonight, I'm going to get a direct line to his campaign, one of his campaign managers, and I'm going to get one of them on the show. And we're gonna ask him some questions. I already got Donald Trump. I got one of his campaign campaign volunteers for North Carolina. Now listen, if he starts leading and they don't campaign as hard as they've done in other states, I probably won't get him. But if things start turning where he has to have North Carolina, I'll have Donald Trump on this show. I promise you. So. Everyone needs to stay tuned for that. And I also have the governor of North Carolina in about 2 months that'll be appearing on this show, according to his constituents. So we'll see. But anyway, back to Ted Cruz. We got another number. Let's try this one.
You've reached Cruz for President. Please leave your name, phone number, email, and zip code after the tone. Have a great day.
Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key.
Okay, we got that guy off there. All right, one number left. These are the three I researched. It's hard to get a hold of these political maggots, I guess you could say. And trust me, I get a hold of somebody, I'm going to let them hear it. But anyway, I got one number left here, and we'll try it out. Hopefully, we can receive someone human instead of a recording. And give me 1 minute here. I'm punching. And remember, these are out of distant numbers here. 512-916-5834. Okay, let's see if we can get somebody here.
You have reached the Austin office of U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. I'm sorry we've missed your call. Please leave a message with your name, phone number, and zip code, and we will get back with you as soon as possible. To leave a message for Senator Cruz, please press 1 now.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson from Blog Talk Radio. The title of the show is Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today. We're based out of Greensboro, North Carolina. My show time is 6 p.m. Sundays and Thursdays, Eastern Standard Time. Please give me a call back, 657-383-0616. I'd love to hear from someone from Ted Cruz's campaign or Mr. Cruz himself. And I would love to have a live broadcast or show with him where I can have my callers ask him some questions, or I can ask him some questions, maybe 15, 20 minutes of his time. I'd really appreciate it. Or you can email me at joegibsonishome@yahoo.com. I'd really appreciate your time. Thank you. All right. Well, I left a message, folks. That's the best I can do. We all know it's difficult to get a hold of people nowadays. But, hey, gave it my best shot.
I think you're calling
tonight.
the wrong number. I think you're.
Said it was Senator Ted Cruz.
Yeah, what you got to do is you got to look up the number for Mockingbird Heights, because doesn't he look just like Grandpa from the Munsters?
Without the hair, he would. If it was gray, wouldn't he?
I think so.
You're absolutely correct. I put on a comment on YouTube. He always looks like he's in tears. He wants to cry.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was Ted Cruz, and we're going to continue to do this. I'm going to try Rubio next. I don't have any numbers right now. The show is gone to almost the extent I want to in an hour. If there's anyone else who wants to check in, you're more than welcome to real quick. I'd really appreciate to hear from you. The phone number is 657-383-0616. You press 1. I will connect you. Everybody does get through. Okay, I got one more person that wants to check in tonight, and this is one of my supporters from the Midwest. Go ahead, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Hey, I really enjoy
Hi, Mike.
that. Hi, Joe. I really enjoy that gentleman that comes on from Nevada. It's really nice to hear, different views and everything. He's well informed. He's well informed. I actually met him on the InfoWars site, and I said, hey, call into the show. I'll put you on whenever you want. And he kept his word. So that's what everyone else needs to understand. You want a voice on this program, listen. We can go 90 minutes. We can listen to everybody. Problem is people, they listen, and they're afraid, like you said in the past, to press 1 because, look, we all know the people on Fox Radio and like Glenn Beck, they're paid to go on there. They're paid a $100 bill or whatever, or those lawyers are paid to go on and be a guest. I'm not paying anybody. Listen, I'm giving you a chance to say what you got to say. But go ahead, Mike. Well, the thing about Trump and what's happening now is, Super Tuesday went by, and he kind of won a lot more than they figured he would win. and plus, they're dropping out. Carson just dropped out, and
Carson officially dropped out, did he?
Yeah, he dropped out yesterday.
Oh,
he will not.
Okay.
He will not be on the debate tonight.
Well, will he not? Wait a second, Mike. I heard something that he won't be on the debate, but I also heard that he didn't officially drop out. So are you saying that he officially dropped out?
Oh, that's what I've heard. And,
okay, all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm only repeating what I heard. Fox just said it about an hour or so ago again. Carson.
Okay, I understand.
Didn't Cruz say that Carson dropped out a few states ago?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He said he dropped out in Iowa.
Yeah.
So that he collected his votes.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they actually said, Fox News said, Carson suspended his campaign. So if that's dropping out, I don't know. But back to Trump, okay? The reason they're all upset is because they don't want change. They don't want somebody to bicker with China or Mexico or anything like that. They don't want they want same old, and government money talks and blank walks, and if they get somebody,
you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct, Mike, and that's what I said. In the beginning, they don't want the establishment wants to keep control, and that's what they're afraid of with Trump. But go ahead, continue on. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. I mean, it's like, I don't know how stupid people have to be, but why is the guy running against Hillary? He just spent $42 million to win one state, and it's like, he's going for a job that pays $550,000 a year.
Yeah, but you see, he's there to make Hillary look better.
True. Well, I don't think anything could help her look better. I don't even think a blind man could see the difference.
I know
you're
to
absolutely
look better,
correct.
but I'm hesitant on saying it.
I know, Joe.
You're absolutely correct. What I'm saying, Mike, is you said he spent. No, he didn't. He didn't spend anything. That money was donated to him or printed by the Federal Reserve, the criminal central bank we have in America, or he didn't spend anything. That's where I get a kick out of this. They spent. Where are they spending this money at? On what? On what?
He didn't get his first paycheck until he was 40 years old.
Yeah, I read that. I read that the other day. He didn't have a job until he was 40. I mean, I don't understand that.
But if you went away of my thinking, like I said before, and family took care of family, you know what? That would be more prevalent in this society.
Well, you're absolutely correct. Yeah. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I'll tell you one thing: he's not Amish, and I don't know. Yeah, that's another thing. We don't see anything on his family. We don't. I don't even know if he's married.
Yeah. Who is Sanders anyway? Does anyone have any background information on this guy?
Who is Colonel Sanders? He's the guy that makes the chicken.
All right, let's keep it professional. We could tell jokes all night.
Yeah.
But Mike brings a valid question. You're absolutely right. Nobody has spoken about this gentleman. I mean, we know about Clinton. We know the Clintons, obviously. But who is this Sanders guy? I mean, like you said, he just got his first paycheck when he was 40 years old. Well, how did that happen? How did he live?
And as far as the Clinton dynasty, their slush funds that they have, whose name it's in. It's in Chelsea's name.
Possibly. Anyway, listen, I got another number for Rubio right now. It just popped. I just got it emailed to me. So I'm going to try this one of the supporters of this show. So just bear with me for a second. Let's try this one. This is a DC number. So we'll go ahead and give it a shot real quick since we got some extra time tonight. And maybe we can get a hold of somebody live or human that I can interact with. I don't want to talk to a machine, you know. So here we go. Let's dial this one. Says it's dialing. Maybe not. Let me cancel the call. Hang on. Let me try it one more time. Just bear with me. Wait.
The office, United States Senator Marco Rubio for Florida. Our normal business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you are receiving this message within those hours, we apologize for the inconvenience as we are busy assisting other callers. If you are calling regarding a legislative issue, please leave your opinion and the zip code in Florida you are calling from after the tone. If you are calling to reach a specific staff member, please leave a detailed message after the tone, and someone will be back to you shortly. If you are calling regarding casework, please call our Orlando, Florida office toll-free. That number is 1-866-630-7106. We would also encourage you to visit our website for timely updates at www.rubio.senate.gov. Thank you so much for calling, and have a nice day.
I'm sorry, but that mailbox is full. Please try again later. Thanks for calling. Goodbye.
I can't leave a message, but she gave me an alternate number, so let's go ahead and try that. She said 1-866-630-7106.
I got something to say about Rubio. His only state won was Minnesota, right?
Rubio? Yeah, I think he only won Minnesota. And Cruz won Oklahoma and Texas.
And he was given his consolation speech before the final count even came out. That alone negates him from being president. Imagine him pushing the button before they said, "We give up."
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to try this number she just gave me, that woman right there. But, yeah, Rubio's a phony. He's a clown. And I don't even think the establishment supports him. They want Cruz in there, actually. I'm not 100% sure on that. But let me try it. I got it typed in right now. Let me try him, see what happens.
The number you have dialed cannot be reached from your calling.
They gave me a number that can't be reached. What do you think of that one, guys?
You were talking about program before, Joe. Well, you're talking about your government. Govern, control, mind. Control your mind.
Well, you're absolutely right. Maybe I dialed. Listen, I'll give him one more chance. I'm going to dial. Maybe I dialed it wrong. Okay, let's see. I like to give
the number you have dialed cannot be reached from your calling area. ACY.
Well,
the number you have
dialed that.
You know what?
All right, go ahead.
What you're going to have to do is go down to Miami, jump in the ocean, swim over to Cuba, get a payphone, and call that number.
Hey, it was easier getting a hold of Walmart. Remember, guys, when I did them over the summer? It was easy. I got a hold of somebody human every time.
Yeah, because Walmart still has to make money. These people don't have to make it anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I promise I'm going to get a hold of these people one way or the other, because this has got me pissed off right now. I mean, this is an embarrassment. We're live on the radio, and we can't get a hold of somebody in Washington, D.C. What's going on here?
They say laughter is the best medicine, and Reader's Digest used to put that out back in the 60s and 70s in their books. And if anybody ever has the CDs from Celebrity Jeopardy shows that used to be on TV, especially the one with Sean Connery, he told you what the program and government and therapist means. Therapist is the rapist.
That's true. But Mike, man, finish your point from earlier, Mike, where you were talking about, if you can.
Well, what I was trying to get at is, on the media today, like Fox. I've been watching Fox, and they're all complaining that that if Trump gets in there and he's going to negotiate with China or with Mexico, he's going to cause a trade war You know, and then the United States is going to be up the creek without you know what. And you know what? Why don't we just try to become independent? Isn't that what they've been talking about for the last?
Whoa! What do you mean? You want Trump to be? What do you mean independent? Who independent?
Us independent from, like on oil. We depend on the air.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's because let's get into history here. I'm going to educate everybody right now. History, real quick. I can go into an hour about this. Listen, in 1979, Henry Kissinger made a deal with the Middle East, with Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and I believe Lebanon, about any oil that came from the Middle East that the United States would purchase that oil, and then Saudi Arabia, which was the main purchaser, would buy the United States debt. And in return, we would get that oil. Now, there was one country at that time that balked at that deal. Can you guess, Mike, real quick, what country that was?
I don't know.
All right. It was Iraq. Okay? Now you know why. 20 years later, after the Iranian and Iraq war, where they were unable to destroy one another, Saddam Hussein was given permission to invade Kuwait, and then they told him to get out. Okay, that's the true story behind that. But that's why we're not independent, to get to the original question. I don't want to get into Saddam Hussein, the history of the Iraq war. But if anyone is listening, you want to look into that, that's a true story, because Saddam Hussein was actually a CIA agent and put into power by the CIA and actually the United States government. But anyway, Donald Rumsfeld actually was over there shaking his hand. There's video of that. But anyway, Mike, what you're saying is why we're not independent is because we have a deal with Saudi Arabia. And, we can go into Saudi Arabia, the dirt we got on them. But that's why we're not independent. So what do you think about that?
Well, I'm really interested in what you just said about, Iraq and everything, because I'm pretty not knowledgeable on that, and I think Margaret Thatcher, over there in England, nobody stepped on her because she wasn't afraid to step back, and a lot of times she was the first one to step. Like in the Falkland Islands and everything.
True.
True. And why can't we have another leader? I mean, I'm not saying Donald Trump is going to be another Ronald Reagan, but why can't we have a leader that other countries are a little bit in fear of? Because Obama is predictable. He's not going to do nothing. He draws a line to the sand.
Obama's a Muslim. We know Obama's a Muslim and a traitor. But Mike, real quick, I got to call someone who just emailed me, a listener. I got 1, 2, 3 other numbers that I can contact here for a switchboard where I could probably talk to somebody human. So this would be great if I could. Just bear with me for a minute.
Why don't you mute me, Joe?
You want me to mute you? Okay. Go ahead. You're muted right now. So whatever you do in the background will not be heard. Okay, let's try this one. The switchboard. He told me to call the switchboard first. I got an email from one of my supporters. So we'll try it. And if none of this works, I will get a hold of somebody eventually. I'll do it, before I go live. And we're going to get somebody on here to answer some questions here, why it's so damn hard to get a hold of our representatives. Go ahead. We're going to dial this one right now.
For quality and training purposes, this call may be monitored but will not be recorded.
Yay.
White House.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from Blog Talk Radio. We're live on the air. And I was just wondering, how can I get a hold of one of my representatives, especially the ones that are running for president, the presidential nomination, like Ted Cruz and Mr. Rubio, because all I get is recordings and voicemails. Do you have any information, as you being in the White House or someone is in charge, or can the president or his office give me any advice here?
One moment, sir.
We are on
Thank you for
hold,
calling
folks.
the Republican National Committee. Please listen to the following options and make your selection accordingly. If you have a comment, question, or need to speak to constituent services, please press 1. If you would like to donate to the RNC or update your membership information, press 2. To cancel a recurring donation, please press 3. For the Finance Department, press 4. For the Press and Communications Office, press 5. For the Political Department, press 6. If you have a question about your GOP store merchandise order, press 7. For questions regarding the RNC mailing list or
how
call
many
list,
questions did I
press
ask?
8. For additional menu options, press 9.
How about I just stay on the line and get a hold of
Thank you for calling
somebody?
the Republican National Committee. Please listen to the following options and make your selection accordingly. If you have a comment, question, or need to speak to
I'm
constituent
trying.
services, please press 1.
All
If you
right,
would like
let's
to
do this.
donate to the RNC
Let's go
or
ahead and press
update your
1.
membership information, press 2. To cancel a recurring donation, please press 3. For the Finance Department, press 4. For the Press and Communications Office, press 5. For the Political Department, press 6. If you have a question about your GOP store merchandise order, press 7. For questions regarding the RNC mailing list or call list, press 8. For additional menu options, press 9. Thank you for calling the Republican National Committee.
All right,
Please
goodbye.
listen to the following options and make your selection.
It won't allow me to do the option. So I have another number. They told me call this number. At least I got somebody human real quick, but they pass you on to somebody else instead of answering the darn question, right? I mean, I'm going to tell them I don't want a recording. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call them back, actually. I don't want a recording. I want an answer from you or some sort of number I can call. I don't want any options where I can press 1 or press 2, because it just doesn't work. And number 1, and you can't get a hold of anybody. And there's the frustration a lot of Americans go through. And people need to really archive this show and pay attention here, because this is what a live media station with live callers on the line. We cannot get a hold of any representative or someone that may give me any type of contact information, and it's really disgusting. So I'm going to call back that individual instead of trying something new, folks.
For quality and training purposes, this call may be monitored but will not be recorded.
White House.
Hey, how you doing tonight? My name is Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from Blog Talk Radio, and we're kind of like live on the air. It's called Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today. And I have a question. I know you're not a representative and may not be able to answer a particular question, but I'm going to ask you, can you not please connect me to a voicemail box that I'm not going to get a hold of anybody? Can you connect me to somebody who can answer a question live or in a human manner? So my question is this. I'm unable to get a hold. Excuse me?
Sir, before we go any further,
Yes.
the offices are closed.
Okay. When they are open, am I able to get a hold of anybody? Can you give me any type of contact information?
You have to call back to the operator during normal business hours between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday between 9 to 5.
Yes.
Okay. And I would dial this same exact number that I'm dialing, correct?
Yes.
And are you able to give me like a first name or where you're located or what your job title is?
No, we don't do that here, sir.
Okay. So
well,
you
know
said
this
White
is
House.
the White House because you called the White House.
Okay, so you're at the White House then, obviously.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so you're at the White House. All right.
Yes,
well,
that's what
I
we
thank
say
you.
when you call.
All right. Well, I thank you for your time, and you are live on Blog Talk Radio, understanding the times in which we live in, a worldwide radio show broadcasted on the internet, radio, and podcasted, and I appreciate your time. Thank you. She hung up before I can even finish, I believe. Folks, that's your government at work, the best of the best. Well, she just told me I can call back between 9 and 5. So what we can do is we'll schedule a show for next Thursday. We could do a show on Monday if you want, if my supporters would agree with me on that. And anyone else who's lingering on here listening, I know I got about 42 callers live on the line. We could do a show on Monday or Tuesday. We'll do an extra show, and we'll call during business hours because that is a problem. And I agree with what that lady said. Hey, all offices are closed. All politicians are, out spending your money. So, we got to call back during business hours to maybe get an answer. So that's what we'll do. So let's not push it to the limit, 9 to 5. Why don't we do a show for 4 p.m. on Tuesday, okay? So those of you that are listening tonight, those of you in the chat room, we'll do a show 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got the White House number right here, okay? That's when she told me to call back between 9 and 5. And I have 2 other numbers I've yet to call, but we're running out of time. I'm going to actually call them off the air and see if I can get a little something better. But we have the White House, so we're going to ask the White House some questions. Hopefully someone from the press room there will have the honesty or guts or ability to talk to me live on the air, because we're not a prepaid program and we don't edit anything and we go 100% live. So hopefully me being a United States citizen, and with many United States citizens live listening on the air, live callers, many, the podcast, I have over, I can't even tell you how many I got because I have to scroll down, but my screen is full, and the chat room has a lot, and my live caller line has about 42 callers, but I don't have any question marks. I wish someone else would contribute for the last minutes of the show, someone else we haven't heard from, but that's okay. And, hey, we're going to do a show Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go ahead and post it, and we'll also do another show on Sunday, our usual scheduled time at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully I will have my scheduled guests to call in. If not, I have a backup guest I can call. They sent me an email during our show tonight. So, hey, like the gentleman in Nevada said, that's good radio. When we call people and we get it out, and we connect with the public without them knowing and put them on the spot, that's good radio. And I agree, because a lot of shows I did in the past where, if you remember, I put Walmart on the spot. I put the district manager of Walmart on the spot and made him look like silly putty. Go back and listen to that show. That was in July. That was a great show. It was real great. And then we called Rite Aid, the corporate office of Rite Aid, so that was a great show. And then, of course, we had a guest on from the veterans, and, that was a great show also. We had Sean Rowe, national hero, where he appeared on Fox and Friends, CNN, many national shows around the country, and he was forming an organization called Veterans Against ISIS. That was also a great show during the summer. So the summertime was absolutely superb. So that caller in Nevada, thank you, because that's what we need to get back to. We need to start getting the guests on here and calling people. I always appreciate my supporters because your opinions matter. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Remember, there's going to be an extra show. So, Mike, if you get in touch with Joe in Sebastian, Florida, and find out what's going on, I haven't heard from him in so long. I'd really appreciate it. And I thank you, my friend out in Nevada. You have my support, and I'm glad you support me. If there's anything we can do for you out there, let us know. I appreciate your support, you calling in, giving your opinion. Of course, Joe and Meriden, and especially my supporter in Reidsville, North Carolina, Bridget. I know she hasn't participated in a while, but I know she's has a lot going on right now. And Elizabeth Rondo in Yalesville, Connecticut. I really appreciate. And Peter in San Diego, California, Dr. Ventura, I appreciate your support tonight. And many, many others. I appreciate it. And I thank God that I have you, because without you, there is no show. And, hey, you may have something very important to contribute one day. And this platform is open to you and everyone else out there. So, hey, take advantage of it, okay? That's why it's here. That's what it's here for. God bless. I'll see you Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless. Take care.
I feel like this all the time, trying to politically awaken people that they're being lied to, that there's an agenda. It's not left or right. It's, hey, there's mind control going on. The signal's broadcast 24 hours a day through all this media. Just become aware of it, and they'll say there's nothing going on. And I want to say, put on these glasses or start chewing concrete.
They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful, and they have blinded us to the truth.
The question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
An estimated 50 to 70 million Americans suffer from a sleep disorder or sleep deprivation.
Outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners.
Latest census numbers prove the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor compared to all westernized countries today.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the...
And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called War on Terrorism, passed the Real ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a Verichip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers of a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their bodies.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all, these totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality, a process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary, separatist identification, thus conceit, has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to being completely enslaved. The men behind the curtain know this, and they also know that if people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature and the truth of their personal power, the entire manufactured zeitgeist they prey upon will collapse like a house of cards.
the whole system that we live in drills into us that we're powerless, that we're weak, that our society is evil, that it's crime-ridden, etc., and so forth. It's all a big, fat lie. We are powerful, beautiful, extraordinary. There is no reason why we cannot understand who we truly are, where we are going. There is no reason why the average individual cannot be fully empowered. We are incredibly powerful beings.
You know, I think I spent 30 years of my life, the first 30, trying to become something. I wanted to become good at things. I wanted to become good at tennis. I wanted to become good at school and grades and everything I kind of viewed in that perspective. I'm not okay the way I am, but if I got good at things, I realized that I had the game wrong. The game was to find out what I already was.
Culture, we've been trained for individual differences to stand out. So you look at each person, immediately it is brighter, dumber, older, younger, richer, poorer, and we make all these dimensional distinctions, put them in categories and treat them that way. And we get so that we only see others as separate from ourselves in the ways in which they're separate. And one of the dramatic characteristics of experience is being with another person and suddenly seeing the ways in which they are like you, not different from you, and experiencing the fact that which is essence in you and which is essence in me is indeed one. The understanding that there is no other. It is all one. And I wasn't born Richard Alpert. I was just born as a human being, and then I learned this whole business of who I am and whether I'm good or bad or achieving or not, all that's learned along the way.
The old appeals to racial, sexual, religious chauvinism, to rabid nationalist fervor are beginning not to work. A new consciousness is developing which sees the earth as a single organism and recognizes that an organism at war with itself is doomed.
Bill Hicks used to finish his shows with this. Life's like a ride in an amusement park. And when you go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored. And it's very loud, but it's fun for a while. Some have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up, I've got a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up! Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. This has to be real. It's just a ride. But we'll kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride, and we can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love.